I'ma keep winning, winning. I'ma keep winning, winning. I'ma keep winning, winning. You can try to save yourself, but you only go.
What's going on, guys? Jake Ham back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing a draft prospect breakdown of Jared Wilson, center from the University of Georgia, projected to be around a second round pick. But before we get into it, please make sure to like the video, comment down below anything you agree or disagree with, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for future NFL content, whether it's going to be NFL draft, pro days, or other prospect breakdowns. And I've done other prospect breakdowns like this on other offensive linemen, mainly the first round prospect goes. So make sure to go and check that out on my channel under the playlist. But let's go ahead and get into this. So Jared Wilson's an interesting prospect. So a little bit about him. He this past year in 2024, he was a second team All SEC voted. So he was the second best center voted by all the Southeastern Conference and the SEC. And that's pretty much considered one of the best conferences in football. He was a backup for his first 3 years at Georgia, so he's one of these guys that went in. He wasn't like a huge touted prospect that was going to come in and start it right away. He pretty much redshirted his whole freshman year. He backed up the rest of the other 2 years, and then once he was a backup for those years, he ended up taking over in 2024 and becoming the starter last year for the first time, and he actually ended up playing very well after developing for a couple years under the system at Georgia. And once he was able to actually get his chance to come in and play, he pretty much shined and was able to be one of the better centers in the conference once he was able to actually show off what he was able to do. So this is a guy that's been highly touted. He's kind of come in, worked for what he was given, and he's pretty much has that work ethic that's been able to be shown through his 3 years of development. So a little bit about him and his strengths and weaknesses. So some of his strengths, he has a very strong pass set. Whenever he does pass it, he has great technique, and he's usually able to get his hands on the inside and be able to control the defender very well. And along with his great pass set, he anchors down very well. So what that means pretty much when you anchor, that's pretty much you putting your feet in the dirt and being able to be that wall so defenders can't push you back while you're pass setting into the quarterback. And he does a very great job. He has a better pass set than he is kind of like a run blocker. He's not a very powerful guy. He's more of a smaller finesse type of offensive lineman that you'd be looking for that moves very well, and he's able to kind of get to the point of attack and be able to have a great pass set and great technique in that area. So it really shows throughout his tape. And when we get to the film here in a little bit, I'll be able to show it to you throughout this video. But once you're able to see him be able to get his kick step and get his hands on guys, he does very well with being able to keep technique. He doesn't overextend. He sits down very well. He anchors down. He has quick feet where he's able to recover very well and get back into his set to be able to stay in front of the defender. And thirdly, he moves great and he can pull. So those two kind of go hand in hand, as we've seen over the last couple of years in the NFL for since probably about the beginning of the 2010s. The shift has kind of been the more movable centers, kind of smaller guys, kind of like a Jason Kelsey. I know it's kind of weird to say with him being as big as he is, but he was considered more of a smaller offensive lineman. He was like a sixth round draft pick. So with him being the smaller, he was able to move and be able to pull. Not all centers can pull and be able to get there and get the block that they need to whenever they are pulling. But Jared Wilson's one of those guys that's able to pull, and he does actually a very good job of it whenever he does. He's able to pretty much get to the outside, and one of the clips I'm going to show you, and he's able to lock up with the defender and pretty much block him. Now, the run game, that run play doesn't go for very much, but he's able to do his job and pretty much get out there and find that hole and pretty much guide himself throughout the line whenever he's able to actually move. And that's stuff that we were able to see with Jason Kelsey over the last couple of years with the Eagles before he retired. We're looking for more of those athletic centers, and it really plays into a lot of advantage with the angles whenever your center can pull. Because a lot of the angles, if you have a straight zero, is more favorable for the center to be able to pull and get to the outside and get to that defender than the guard. Because if the guard has to pull, then the center has to work on that reach block and he has to work the whole way. I know it's pretty easy and it looks pretty easy for the NFL players, but some players end up having, difficulties with that, with being able to move like that and be able to beat the zero technique straight up across from them. So if you're able to have a center that can pull, the angle is just so much better if you can have the play side guard just down block on it and have the center be able to pull to get to the outside. And it just leads you to be able to seal off that wall for the running back to be able to get through and allow the offensive lineman to be able to pretty much just get to the point of attack that they need to and get their hands on to create the gap that they're supposed to. And then lastly, for strengths, Georgia's run scheme, they didn't really run a lot of outside zone, but it was mostly short, choppy inside zones, and in that, he's able to pretty much just give a hit and give a nudge to his guard next to him on the inside defender and pretty much go right away. So he was able, based on the run scheme and how well he can move, he was able to get up to the second level very quick. He did it a lot, and several clips I'm going to be showing you, you can see it that he's able to pretty much go right now and get up to that second level. Now, whenever he gets there, he definitely needs to work on that because he doesn't really lock up as well as he should, but he definitely is able to get to that point and understands where he needs to be. His angles are pretty good. He just doesn't finish it and be able to get his hands on them and be able to lock up and engage with that second level defender to be able to turn it to bust out a big play. He just kind of gets there and then the linebacker will either beat him to the side because he doesn't engage on him, or they're able to pretty much just fill the gap and go straight through him because he's not as big. So that's going into some of his weaknesses here. He doesn't get a lot of movement since he's a little bit of a smaller guy. He's more the finesse type guy that's able to pretty much run out in space where you can pull him, or you could pretty much get him to the second level where he needs to engage a little bit better. But if he's pretty much if he has a straight zero on him and he needs to be a pure mauler and pretty much run guys straight off the ball and create that gap, he's not very good at that. He's not going to get a lot of movement. Now, he does engage on the first level very well whenever he needs to, and he down blocks pretty well on guys whenever the guard next to him is pulling. He's able to down block very well. But if it's just like a straight inside zone where he's on the first level guy, most of the time it's usually a stalemate, and he's not going to be able to get all the movement that he needs to. And secondly, like I said, whenever he gets to the second level, he needs to engage with his blocks better. Whenever he ends up getting to the second level, he does a great job of playing his angles and getting there super fast, but he doesn't really lock up with the defender. He doesn't ever really shoot his hands, get back down into his run base and get his head straight into their chest. He more just kind of plays with them and doesn't really engage with them a lot, so it leads to the linebacker being able to just pretty much avoid his block and get to the gap that he's able to and pretty much make a play on the ball. If he's able to just go and seal that guy off a little bit more, there would be a lot bigger plays on Georgia's run game. It's just that he kind of struggled with once he's able to get there, being able to settle down on the quicker guy and just pretty much engage with the quicker guy and be able to move his hips in a certain way. Lastly, he needs to identify pressure a little bit better. But now this is a thing with his playing time. Since he was a backup for 3 years and he's only really been starting for 1 year, sometimes his identification of the blitz and understanding where it's coming from and seeing it isn't all there and isn't as great as some of the other guys in this draft, maybe like a Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks or Armand Membu or Tyler Booker. Those guys all have great awareness, but they've all been pro playing and starting for 2 to 3 years, pretty much all of them. Jared Wilson's pretty much one of the only guys in this draft at the top in the first and early second rounds where he's only really started for 1 year. So that's just going to come with time and development. If he goes into the right situation and he just sees more reps and he's able to start, then that's something that's going to be able to fix itself. And he's going to be able to identify that and get the feel for it a little bit more. It's really just the lack of feeling and reaction. That's pretty much all offensive line is where you're seeing the blitz. It's just quick reaction and just doing what your mind tells you to do immediately. It's not much. You can't be on a delay and think too much. If you think, then bad things are going to happen to you on the offensive line. It's just reaction and just react right away. And you don't necessarily see that with him. It kind of takes him a second to be able to identify it. So then he's a little bit late at some points. So jumping into some of these clips, this is going to be the first clip. He's in here at center here. And this is a good pass block for him to be able to pretty much anchor down and get the set on him. He's going to be right here at the center point. Now, the good thing for him at center, he's not necessarily the biggest guy, but if you're a center in pass set, a lot of the times you're going to have help from the guard, especially in this game against Tennessee. They stayed mostly with a four-man rush. They didn't really bring a whole lot of extra pressure. It was just basically a four-man rush, and then they would either slant or stunt certain guys. So it wasn't too much of one-on-one blocking. So in this game, he was able to pretty much double team off with whoever he needed to, and that's what we're going to see here. He does a good job of engaging with them. He does get a little bit of help from the guard before the guard has to peel off. But as we see here, He's able to pretty much sit down right away and get a good set on that guy where he needs to, and pretty much just stand him straight up and get under him. So right here, this guy's gonna end up pulling, and he's gonna pretty much seal this off with his edge presence and this pass pro, and he's gonna pretty much block down and slide to the backside three technique, while this guard's gonna go to the zero technique that was lined up. And once this guard's able to pull and seal the edge, you're definitely gonna see Jared Wilson sit down. But there, it kind of shows his ability of being too small. He kind of just gets thrown off there, and it's just him being a little bit too small. Luckily, they only brought four man, so he was able to get pretty much a little bit of help there, and then he's able just to slide over with the double team. So if he's more of a one-on-one blocker, it's kind of hard for him because he's a little bit smaller, and it becomes a little bit of an issue. But sometimes he does do if it's just like a straight bull rush, he does very well of anchoring down. But sometimes he's able to pretty much just get thrown like this and by a bigger defender, so that becomes a little bit of a bigger issue. It's just because he's not big enough and he needs to be able to get in the weight room and get a little bit stronger to handle that. And it really happens to the best of us with a lot of offensive linemen. This is just going to happen, especially if you're undersized. This would even happen with Jason Kelsey if he was going against Aaron Donald at certain points, but you have to be able to use your technique, and then the slide doesn't really help him out. With him trying to come back to the inside, the guard's kind of blocking his way, so he's able to just pretty much stay in his gap and recover quickly and stay on the guy to double team him with the guard. And then moving on to the next play here, as we're gonna see, it's just him pretty much working up to the second level, and he's able to get up there quick to the point of attack. So right here, this is basically just an inside zone play, is what it looks like. And what's gonna happen is this backside guard's going to reach this one technique. This guy's gonna pretty much try to either reach or kick out the three technique. And then Jared Wilson's gonna step inside, make sure nobody comes, and he's gonna climb right now to this middle linebacker. Once you see him climb, he gets there very quickly, but he just does not engage with the linebacker, and it kind of just beats him over the top once he's able to scrape to the point. So you see him fire off. He has a great line here. He has the angle that he needs to, and he's firing off, and he's very quick at getting to the point. And then once he's able to get there, this is a great set and a great look of where you want to be at this point in time. 69's kind of getting burnt right here on this play, so it's gonna maybe force the running back to cut back inside, but I don't think that he's gonna have enough time to. And once Jared Wilson's able to get to the point, he doesn't really move his feet to be able to seal this guy off, and the linebacker's just able to pretty much run straight through him and then beats him to the point where this running back's trying to cut up. If he's able to seal that off and this running back's able to make this cut off of 69 and he's able to have this guy and blocked and engaged with him, then this could be a touchdown because he's pretty much just going to be one-on-one with the cornerback right there. But Jared Wilson gets beat. He had a very good first step. He got to the point of attack that you want to. He just doesn't engage with the guy. He doesn't drop his hips. He doesn't shoot his hands. He doesn't get into the chest of the defender and turn his butt. He just gets beat over top. So this is the instance that you get this linebacker filling this backside cutback lane where the running back's going to be trying to go because his play side guard gets beat. And the running back's able to turn it into 3 yards. But let's be honest, that probably should have been a tackle for less than one. So as you can see, he gets to the point that he wants to. This is where he should be. He just doesn't engage with him, and he just gets beat over the top immediately. I don't know if that's just quickness of play. That guy's a little bit just too quick for him at that point, but he needs to be able to learn to attack this guy on his right shoulder to be able to turn his butt. If he's able to attack this guy on the right shoulder and be able to turn it, this could turn into a touchdown that this running back could turn it into. Except he goes straight up with him. He doesn't attack him over here, and then the linebacker is able to pretty much beat him to that point. Moving on to the next one, he's still in here at center, and this is another version of him being able to climb up to the second level. So on this one, if you're looking at an inside zone play, this tackle is just going to kick out this edge. This center and guard is necessarily going to do a double team up to the play side linebacker, except that he's just going to give him a nudge in the run scheme. It's not a full combo, so he gives him a nudge. He's working on pretty much sealing this guy off, and he's going to go right now after he gives him a quick hit. These two are in a combo pretty much to this backside. Number 7's going to be working on cutting off right here. James Pierce, I believe that's it. That is. And then 11's going to work to pretty much seal this outside gap, this inside gap, make sure nobody crosses his face. So where they go right now, and James Pierce makes that cutback lane into there and shoots in. Number seven's not able to seal him off, but he's pretty much one-on-one with this linebacker, and he needs to be able to get up there right now, attack his right shoulder right here, giving him a little bit of push and pull. So what that means is he's going to push with his right arm and then pull with his left arm once he gets them engaged to be able to turn him and then create this lane right here for this running back for ETN to pretty much just hit right here off his butt. If he's able to pretty much do that push and pull technique, lock up with this linebacker, ETN's right here, and he's one-on-one with this safety right now. And if I had to bet, I'm gonna sure that ETN is going to pretty much beat this guy and get him straight into a touchdown. But if you played a little bit, he tacks him on the left side, which isn't a good thing. He needs to be more here so that ETN could follow this play and just follow the zone. But he doesn't play his angle right. He kind of goes more to the left instead of the right. And then James Pierce just does a great play, honestly. This is just a first round talent play with James Pierce that he has all the talent in the world. The tight end's not able to get him. That's a hard block for him, and he's able to just pretty much cut on the inside and make a play. So it really wouldn't have mattered if Jared Wilson gets the block, but you want to be prepared for that and know because if since he didn't get this block, if James Pierce doesn't make this play, Trevor Etienne's getting beat and getting tackled right here just because Jared Wilson doesn't get on the right side and doesn't engage with him, doesn't get his hips turned, doesn't get his butt turned. So then that just pretty much doesn't create any hole for him on this inside zone at all, even though James Pierce is making a great play on it. Moving on to the next play. This is another pass blocking rep. This is one that he actually does very well. The first three were kind of like lowlights of him in this game, some things that he can improve on. But here, this is pretty much a three-man slide to the right. So what's going to happen here? These three are sliding here, and then the guard is manned up here, tackle's manned up here. They're going to give him a nudge. Running back's going to be protected on this right side. So whenever there's a three-man slide to the left, this center guard tackle on the left side are responsible for these three. So no matter what gap they come in, if he would have shot here, he would have shot right in here. He's going to be responsible for him. That's exactly what's going to happen. This guy's going to go on the edge. This guy's going to go in this B gap for the guard. And then Jared Wilson's going to have his eyes up to see who comes right here in this A gap. And that's pretty much what he's responsible for. And as soon as he's able to snap the ball and get his three-man slide going, this linebacker is going to shoot right here into this A gap. And Jared Wilson's going to do a very good job of picking him up. And then once he gets bull rushed by this linebacker, once he's engaged with him, he does a great job of anchoring down. He doesn't give up a lot of yards to ruin the pocket and get any pressure into Carson Beck. So as we see here, three-man slide to the right. It looks like that they're going to be doing a little bit of a stunt. And actually, I was wrong. The linebacker goes outside, and then James Pierce stunts back in. But he's able to pick James Pierce up too. His pad level is low. You would like it to be a little bit lower. He seems a little bit high, but he's able to recover and pick this guy up that ends up coming in as A gap, and he ends up anchoring down very well. He pretty much stays on him, doesn't let him go. He doesn't give up too much ground into Carson Beck. Carson Beck has a good clean pocket, and they're able to pretty much keep that going and keep that pocket for him to progress through his reads to be able to get the ball out. So he's able to see the stunt, and no matter who's coming in this A gap, that's who he's going to end up picking up. And he's able to sit down, shoot his hands, and get him right on him. And he picks it up, anchors down, sits. He is a little bit high on it, loses a little bit of his technique, but he does a great job of staying in front of him and doesn't let the guy pass him. So that was a very clean and good pass rush and a great job of his recognition that he sometimes lacks just because of playing time. So here at him at center again, this is another good pass set that he has. This one's just pretty much a straight three-man slide. There's no stunt to it really. It's just these three men here coming straight at him with the four-man, and he's able to pretty much get a double team. So like I said, centers, if you're on the inside, centers are able to get a lot of double teams with the guards a lot of times in pass pro. So this helps out Jared Wilson a little bit. But here he's able to pretty much just get a straight double team. The guard's able, once Wilson has him secure here and is able to engage on his block, and he keeps him going there for a little bit and just standing up to the defender and not allowing him. He has his anchor down right here, doesn't let him push him back. The guard's able to go and help out the tackle on this edge and not allowing him to pretty much get the inside on that tackle. So he's able to slide over, pick this up. He's responsible for these three, responsible for these three. No one comes, so they're able to double team it. He's able to slide over, engage with that three technique, and then take it over while the guard's able to go here. And he's able, if you look at it, he has his hands right here in his chest, his butt's low, his chest is up, and he has his feet set. So then he's able to anchor down once he tries to bull rush him right there. And you would like him to be a little bit lower. He's standing straight up, so that's another thing. His pad level is a little bit high, but that's overall another good pass set where he's able to play. So I believe this is the last one. This is a clip of him pulling. Now the run play doesn't go anywhere because Tennessee does a great job of seeing it, and the safety comes down and makes an amazing play on this read. But this is a clip of him pretty much pulling, and the center and the play side guard are going to end up pulling, and he's going to be responsible for the inside linebacker that's looking to make a play. So all these guys are blocking down. This tackle's blocking down right here. This tight end's blocking down. This wing's going to be blocking down. And the guard and the center are going to be pulling to the edge. So the center is responsible for this play side linebacker right here. The guard is going to be responsible for this corner that's playing on the edge because there's nobody for him to guard. He's pretty much looking at number 4, and then they're going to see a run with the other formation. Block down, pull around, and be able to pick this up. So you can see him. He's able to move very well. They have the angle. They kind of have the numbers. You usually want the running back to be one-on-one with the safety, and that's exactly what happens. The safety just comes up and makes a great play at the line of scrimmage to be able to stuff this. But overall, he's able to pretty much pull around, feel it. Whenever you're pulling, you need to fill it out and find the nearest gap to pretty much get through. And he's able to get that right there on the edge and almost beat the guard that's trying to line up with his defender. But he's able to get through, and he ends up laying a great hit, and he engages very well with him there, which is a little weird because whenever he's going on the inside zones, he doesn't really engage a lot on the inside and on the interior very well. But whenever you pull him and get him out in space here on a screen or on a pull to the outside, he does a very good job of engaging with some of these smaller guys and some of the inside linebackers that's ended up trying to pretty much get to the point. I think that's more of his speed. He's able to pull outside, run there, get to the point, and pretty much beat him there to set up and get his hands involved with him. And that's what we're seeing here. He has his hands on the interior, both of his grips on the chest, and he's able to control this defender and pretty much just move him straight out of the way and then drives him 10 yards downfield. It does help that the defender's a little bit smaller than him, but he's able to use his speed to pretty much get there and control this inside linebacker that he's able to control for and just moves him straight out of the way. So overall with Jared Wilson, I do like the tape. He does have a little bit of flashes to him. He does also have a little bit of struggles. It's somebody that can be developed if he goes into the right system, if he goes into the right team with a very good offensive line coach, and he just gets more reps in play to be able to see the game in live action and have the game a little bit slow down for him as time goes. So that's kind of what I said here with this conclusion about Jared Wilson. I think he's a B overall prospect. I don't think he's better than any of the main first round guys right now. I do think he's the best center in the draft because there's not many centers in the draft. It's mostly guards or tackles. So I think he's going to go around the early second round because he does have a very good upside and he does show those glimpses of who he can be and that he can be a very good football player in the NFL. But he just needs more experience and more and when he comes with that experience, he's going to be able to engage in his blocking a little bit better. That's the main thing that he needs to focus on is seeing the game a little bit slower and have it slow down for him and being able to engage in his blocks. If he's able to pretty much climb to the second level on those inside zone plays and on those interior runs and seal off that linebacker, he's going to be a very good football player if he can get that technique down. And he could develop into a very good center that a team that may need a center in the early second round area to be able to take him and develop. I thought maybe the Bears might be a fit, but they just pretty much went out and signed Drew Dalman. So they're pretty much out on this. Maybe a team like the Dolphins could end up moving up, and maybe a team like the Seahawks could end up moving up in the second round if they don't address it with Gray Zabel in the first. So a couple of those teams could end up looking at them in the early second round and end up developing them. So that's my overall conclusion on Jared Wilson. Please make sure to like the video, comment down below anything you agreed or disagree with. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for future NFL content, and thanks for watching.
Yeah, feel like John Morant. Need a triple double. Told him check the stats. Yeah, I got a couple. I don't drop the ball. Now I never fumble. I'm the MVP. Now I feel like Russell. Feel like John Morant. Need a triple double. Told him check the stats.